Boris Johnson will call 10 p.m. closing time at pubs across England from Thursday to help curb spiralling coronavirus rates. The Prime Minister will also announce the hospitality sector will be restricted to table service only by law. From Thursday evening, all pubs, bars and restaurants in England will be required to close by 10 p.m. The 10 p.m. curfew, used elsewhere in local lockdowns, will be rolled out across the country to try to prevent alcohol-fueled breaches of social distancing rules. The UK's coronavirus alert level was raised from 3 to 4 in the first change since June as the deadly virus once again threatened to spiral out of control. The nation's top scientists issued a grave warning that without immediate action there could be 50,000 cases of the deadly disease a day by mid-October. Mr. Johnson was planning to announce more tough new coronavirus restrictions on Tuesday, which sources said would come into force within days. They are expected to include a ban on households mixing inside or outside their home and guidance to avoid public transport unless necessary for school or work. There could also be tougher enforcement for pubs and restaurants, where customers break the rules and steeper fines for breaching social distancing laws. Health Secretary Matt Hancock told MPs, "It's important to act fast so as not to have to act bigger later." The PM will brief his cabinet on plans on Tuesday morning, before chairing his first emergency Cobra meeting in 4 months with the leaders of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Mr. Johnson will then face MPs before a televised live address to the nation at 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. More than 13.5 meters people across large parts of the North, Midlands and Wales are already subject to severe restrictions to their everyday lives. But a key exemption to local lockdowns came when ministers announced that informal childcare, including from grandparents, would be allowed for children under 14. Coronavirus outbreak. The PM was expected to stop short of bringing in a circuit break lockdown of everything but schools and workplaces, although sources suggested this remains on the table. Ministers have said they want to avoid the final defense of a full second nationwide lockdown because of the damage it would do to the economy. A Number 10 spokesperson said, "No one underestimates the challenges the new measures will pose to many individuals and businesses. We know this won't be easy, but we must take further action to control the resurgence in cases of the virus and protect the NHS." Close quote. The UK's coronavirus alert level was put up by the nation's 4 chief scientists and the Joint BioSecurity Centre last night after new infections soared to 4,368. It followed UK's most senior scientists outlining the grim data behind the decision to impose new measures, 200 deaths a day by mid-November, unless ministers act now. They warned that Brits should prepare for at least 6 months of tightened measures to contain the spread of the disease. Chief Medical Officer Prof Chris Whitty said the public needed to break unnecessary links between households and change course. This means reducing social contacts, whether they are at work, and also in social environments, he added. But he admitted the move would mean some significant downsides, including to people's mental health and the economy. Prof Whitty warned the country should be braced for a tough winter and the seasons are against us. He added, We should see this as a 6-month problem that we have to deal with collectively. It's not indefinite. Close quote. Chief Scientific Advisor Sir Patrick Borland said there was no doubt the UK was seeing a surge in cases among all age groups, and not just because more tests were carried out. Numbers admitted to hospital with coronavirus in England are the highest since June. The latest government data reveals 205 people were admitted on Friday, and there were 142 patients on ventilators. Shadow Health Secretary Jonathan Ashworth said, "We are at a perilous moment. The exponential growth of the virus cannot be ignored. This virus takes lives and leaves many with long-term debilitating conditions. Every reasonable action must be taken to save lives, minimize harm and keep our children in school. That means a suppression strategy to drive infections down." Mr. Hancock has hinted at more restrictions on people's social lives, but he steered away from a national lockdown. He told ITV's This Morning, "If we do have to take action, it will be different from last time. We have learned a huge amount about how to tackle the virus." He added, "I want Christmas to be as normal as possible, and the more we can control the virus now and stop the spread now, the easier it's going to be to have a Christmas that's as close to normal as possible." The government published its plans for rationing testing as the system continued to creak under the pressure. Hospital patients will be at the front of the queue, with care homes and NHS staff also prioritised. Testing will also be targeted in outbreak areas and teachers will be given priority. Among the wider public, people in areas with high infection rates will be on the list. London Mayor Sadiq Khan warned new restrictions would be imposed on their capital and demanded to be allowed into the Cobra meeting, which he is not due to attend. He said, "Without adequate testing or contact tracing in London, we have no choice but to look at other measures to slow the spread of the virus. I firmly believe that acting early, rather than having to impose more stringent measures later, is the right thing to do, both for public health and the economy." Close quote. Mr. Khan announced that he and local borough leaders had agreed a London-wide plan with some new restrictions. In a call on Tuesday, it is understood he will press the PM to tighten rules around mask wearing by bar and waiting staff in London's pubs and restaurants. He is also set to push for greater wearing of face coverings by the general public, beyond the current rules which say they should be worn on public transport and in shops. There could also be a cut in the number of guests allowed to attend weddings and funerals. Currently up to 30 are permitted, but the number could possibly be halved. Scots First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said that extra restrictions would almost certainly be imposed in Scotland this week. She said she needed to be absolutely straight with the people across Scotland, where there are already local lockdowns in place in areas including Greater Glasgow. Ms Sturgeon added, "Hopefully this will be with Four Nations alignment, but if necessary it will have to happen without that." In Wales, possible measures due to come into force in 4 Welsh boroughs at 6 p.m. on Tuesday could be widened to the rest of the country. Northern Irish First Minister Arlene Foster announced that the public in the region would be banned from visiting other people's homes